Alright, what's today's project? Well, we're going to be adding 110 volt, 120 volt inverter. It's going to run off the batteries. So I'm just building the board. I have two cables coming in from the battery, positive and negative, into a disconnect. 200 amp fuse comes into the inverter, and then I will plug my RV shore power cord into this. So basically we'll run through. I'll turn off the air conditioning breaker. I'm going to be mounting that right here. Take this panel off, and then there's the solar controller. There's the two batteries there, so I'll have to run out to that and turn this music down. Right now I've got everything running off the battery and the solar. You can see we got stereo and lights. Pretty much all we'll need. The fridge will be on gas. Stove's on gas. The heat would be on gas, so you just need small amounts of power for those. You can run off of that. So what I'll be doing here is, like I said, I'm going to create this board, get it all mounted. Now there's another way you can do this. You can do a transfer switch, which you would connect to your big electrical box in here, so that when you plugged into shore power, you would get shore power, 30 amp service. When you were not plugged in, everything would switch over to the inverter and the solar and charging batteries. But they're kind of expensive, and you got to find a way to wire it. So I'm going to do it real simple by just having that plug right there. On the other side of this camper, I have the shore power. So anywhere you plug in when you're camping, if you have service. If we don't, we're out in the middle of nowhere, I'll just run that cord down the side through the storage and just plug it in. The only thing there you have to just make sure is that your batteries are turned off and disconnected from the inside, because that's going to run into the inverter controller, which charges that battery. So if you don't turn your disconnect off, the whole thing will loop. It'll pull off the battery, run the insides, but then charge the battery, and eventually you'll run down the battery, because there's no perpetual motion machine. You still have loss of voltage through all the apparatus, even if everything's off. So you just turn that off and turn this one on and plug in shore power, and then we will have up to 150 watts. Now, with the battery system I put in, basically the two batteries are 81 amp hours. You can only go to 50% power on these batteries, so basically 81 amp hours. And you multiply that times the voltage, and that gives you 900 and something change amp hours, or watt hours, I guess you can say. It's probably watt hours. So basically the TV, the stereo, I calculated some of the lights and stuff, might be running 100 watts. The other things we can't turn on the AC, so I got to turn that breaker off, and the fridge will be on gas. So basically running about 100, 120 watts. Well, with a full battery charge, you could go almost 8 hours just off the batteries alone. So if the solar's out during the day and you're using stuff, it'll probably still be charging, as long as you're not using more than what that solar's putting out. So that's all really we need. We're going to be out, maybe a long weekend, 3 days or 4 days. Full tank of propane. We take extra water. I have an extra tank, since this only holds 31 gallons. I got another 35, so it's over 60 gallons. That's more than enough for a couple showers and the toilets and things. So we're good for 3-4 days, self-contained. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And again, basically, we're going to disconnect switch. Going to run to here, run this around. This will loop around, come up here into that. Then I'll have my negative terminal. I'll have everything secure, and then find a way to route it out the camper and over to the batteries. All these ends have to be terminated, so there's a lot of work, heat shrinking and putting on all the connectors, and you get all of these things, and it's a little bit of work here. Had to buy this fancy little tool to clip the ends of those. So not too bad. It just should take me an hour or so, hour and a half or so. Once I get this all wired up, get a connection there, and then I'll go ahead and test everything. I'll make sure that these batteries are all fully charged. And as you can see right now, what are we getting? We're getting, well, the solar's working. We got about 3.2 amps. The sun's just now hitting them. So let me see if I can do this here. So you press this little thing, and the battery's at 86%. The amp hours is 20 amp hours, or amps, no, 20 amps. We're at 12.7 volts. You should never go less than 12.2. And 50% battery storage, otherwise you'll start to screw up those up. Okay, I don't know why that was changing. I have flooded batteries, so for some reason that was trying to change the thing. I don't know why. All right, that'll switch back. So anyways, that's how you get solar. It's really not horribly expensive. The panels are $200. The most expensive things are these things. Is running about $400. That's $12, $8. The wire is a little pricey. You know, it's going to run you $30-$40. But you know, if you had a dealer install, it would cost thousands. So anyways, hope this helps. And if you want to do one of these projects on your own,